everyone. How's it going? Hope you're all doing really well. As usual, I'm here to talk about a topic that is important that comes up in my work and something that I think, hopefully you all will at least get some, even if it's just a nugget of information that helps you maybe try something new, think about a different perspective, maybe acquire a different tool, skill. Most things that I share here, I try to get information and research that's evidence based. So people can trust that when they come here to listen to what I have to share, that there's actually research backing it. And it's not just another person sharing their opinion. So, for many of you who are familiar with me, I've been a psychologist for over 2 decades, working with just about everybody. I work in the heterosexual world, I work in the LGBTQ plus world, and I've worked with children, adults, families, singles, couples. And now in my career, I focus primarily with working with couples who are maybe struggling in their ability to stay connected. Maybe they need to reignite a spark, and maybe they're needing to learn new communication skills. And the skills that they learned in their previous relationships or even in childhood aren't working for them today. So, I also work with a lot of singles who want to break patterns of behavior and want to date smarter and be more successful when they're selecting a partner. And I love all the work that I focus on. I love it all. And this is something where I show up here for you all weekly. It's something I look forward to and something that me and my team think about thoughtfully. So if you have any topics that you would like me to expand on or actually research and even, share my own, like not just the research that we find, like I do, but also some of my own opinions about it, feel free to ask. Post below in the comments and let me know what it is that you're wanting, and I'm happy to deliver that. Just wanted to share a tidbit about an interview I recently had last week. Vogue interviewed me about the topic of women coming out later in life, like women who have been married to men for years or been mainly dating men and have decided that they want to explore being with women. And they're asking, like, what are my thoughts about it, since I'm immersed as a not just as a clinical psychologist and a board certified sex therapist, but also the CEO of Little Gay Book Matchmaking, which is a large national matchmaking firm that focuses on matching queer folks. And we had a really great talk. And really, it's because I think today in our culture, it is safer to come out and explore, even though there's more visibility with social media and people, judging and criticizing. There's a lot of people who have a lot of opinions out there. So it can also be scary. But at the same time, we've come a long way with, with our confidence and comfort in the gay community. And just as a society, we're more familiar with it. It's less foreign. There's more media and exposure in television and things like that. So we've been, like many things, with exposure, you become more comfortable and less intimidated by it. And I think people are feeling more comfortable coming out. And also, they're realizing that traditional marriage is not really working. And we're still going off statistics from like the 80s or 90s with them stating that the divorce rate is at 50%. I can pretty much guarantee that it's higher than 50%. I don't want to throw a number out there because I don't have any research to back it up. I can tell you I see thousands of people, and I would say for sure it's over 50%. So people are trying different ways of having unconventional, untraditional relationships. And at the same time, I think that there are people who have been curious about hooking up and exploring maybe, their same gender intimately. So I'm excited that Vogue is doing an article on this. I think it's excellent because we need to have these conversations and we need to be thinking about it and being curious and not judgmental. Suspend judgment and just instead be curious. Because even if it's something that doesn't make sense to you, it just, it's beautiful to have people of all different interests and desires and proclivities and things like that. It's like that's what makes life so interesting. So we don't all want to be clones of each other. So, like, at the end of the day, even if it's something that's not your taste and your preference, that's fine. Let's just not judge or criticize and just be accepting of people's uniqueness and differences. So I happen to always be drawn to people that are different than me, that think differently than me, that live differently than me, because I find it fascinating. And I always learn something new when I have those deeper conversations with them, just from a place of curiosity and not judgment. So, all right. Anyway, last thing, thank you, all of you, for being here with me on this journey. And I look forward to continuing to provide you with really useful, helpful information, knowledge, tools, skills that you can apply to your lives. And please share, share, share. If anything you think is helpful that I'm putting out there that you think will actually have a positive impact in somebody else's life, please share it. All right, let's jump in. Let's jump into my topic for the day. Vanilla sex is boring, and that's okay to admit. It's a truth universally acknowledged that not all sex can be good. But there's a difference between having occasionally less than inspiring sex and feeling like the sex you're having is just plain boring across the board. At least for some of us, regular old vanilla sex just isn't doing it. Does this describe you? There's good news. You aren't doomed to having boring vanilla sex forever. And what is vanilla sex anyway? If vanilla sex is an unfamiliar term, it's because what it refers to is considered so commonplace, it's assumed to be the norm. Many people just call vanilla sex sex. Vanilla sex is any sexual activity that doesn't include a power dynamic. So, no overt elements of kink or BDSM like impact, restraint, sadomasochism, or psychological play like humiliation or degradation, but also no implicit power dynamics in which one person is more dominant and one person is more submissive. Vanilla sex also doesn't usually include any fetishes like feet or role playing. Gay or queer sex may involve partners taking on a top or a bottom role, but this isn't necessarily kinky. Some tops also identify as kinky tops or dominants, and some bottoms also identify as submissives. But in some contexts, identifying as a top or a bottom just refers to whether one is being penetrated or doing the penetrating. It's totally possible to have vanilla sex as a gay top or bottom. Vanilla sex isn't necessarily limited or restricted. Anything from kissing to strap on sex to anal falls under the umbrella of vanilla sex. But if you're feeling unfulfilled by this kind of sex or like there's something missing, it's not the only option. Why might you be bored during vanilla sex? For some people, vanilla sex is the the height of excitement and sensation. Just their partner's hand on theirs or a closed mouth kiss can get them coming undone. For others, this doesn't necessarily feel that titillating. It may not feel satisfying, engaging, or particularly sexy to have vanilla sex for a variety of reasons. That may include the physical sensations just don't do it for you, the feeling of like it just feels muted or unpleasant or uninteresting. You find you can't get physically turned on or aroused, even when you're attracted to your person or you care about your person, or regardless of your partner, whoever it is. You find you're drifting mentally or checked out during sex, unable to pay attention to what's actually happening, even though you really want to. There are a lot of reasons why you might be having this experience. It's entirely possible that you aren't into the sex you're having with this person. Not all sex with all people is good, especially if you're less experienced. It can be easy to convince yourself that there's something wrong with you if you aren't enjoying it. But that doesn't need to be the case. If you find that you aren't enjoying vanilla sex with any partner, it may be that you aren't into sex in general. You may find looking into asexuality affirming, which I've talked about previously, so feel free to look back in my previous vlogs. It's also possible that you might enjoy sex more with a different gender. Suffering through boring, mediocre sex that they wish they enjoyed more is a first sign for many people that they may be queer or gay. If you ever find yourself accidentally fantasizing about other people or another gender during sex or when you masturbate, this might be a clue. It may also not mean that you are curious about the same gender, right? Like our mind goes places. It's also possible that it's specifically vanilla sex that you're disinterested in, and different kinds of sex might be more appealing for you. Think about this. Do you find yourself wishing vanilla sex was more intense somehow? Fantasize about more extreme activities during sex, like your partner lightly menacing you or holding your partner down by the wrists? Wish you had more intense sensations or find yourself always wanting more stimulation? Daydreaming about complex scenarios surrounding sexual encounters, maybe as part of some kind of real life power dynamic, like being a student with a teacher or a boss with their employee? It's possible that you're finding vanilla sex so unfulfilling because you're more drawn to something with a particular edge to it, something with a power dynamic and a kind of intensity of physical sensation that places it under the umbrella of a kind of kink or BDSM. What can you try instead? If this sounds intriguing to you, it's worth exploring. You deserve a sex life that's rich, fulfilling, and intensely pleasurable. If you're bored by the vanilla sex you're having, you don't have to continue having this kind of sex. To explore whether something else might be a good fit for you, I want to suggest that you try exploring porn, either video, content, audio content, or written erotica that explores power dynamics in some way. Notice what you feel drawn to and what feels challenging or off putting. See if there are patterns or trends of any kind in what you like. Pay attention to your fantasies. What does your mind wander towards when you masturbate or think through the type of sex you'd like to have? Are there specific dynamics or scenarios that feel consistent? Do you fantasize about a specific type of person or way of being treated or of feeling particularly powerful or powerless? Reading about sex and sexuality, from asexuality to hardcore BDSM. The ways that people relate to sex or don't vary much more widely than many of us are ever taught. Learning more about the wide range of sexual expression and how it feels to different people may help contextualize some of what you feel or would like to feel. Sexuality is an almost infinite spectrum, like most things in life, right? There's a spectrum, even though us humans like to think about it very linear and black and white. It's not surprising that having a specific kind of sex doesn't do it for everyone. Just like eating the exact same meals or watching the exact same TV show wouldn't make everyone happy. Try to embrace this fact with the spirit of exploration and compassion and curiosity. There's so many kinds of connection and sex out there that feels good, and you have complete freedom to find them out, try them out, explore. So don't feel stuck by society's rules and the constriction that it places on us. We can certainly explore, and I encourage you to do that with curiosity, without judgment. And then I want to hear about it. Share it with us. Thanks everyone for tuning in. Kisses, hugs, and I'll see you next time.